Welcome back everyone to Formula 1 2020 and to your practice report for the 70th anniversary Grand Prix. If you are new around here and have never seen a practice report before, what we do is we go through the times of this morning's session and this afternoon's practice session, have a little look at who's looking quick, qualifying trim, race trim, have a little discussion about the session overall, and then have a look at your predictions from yesterday's preview report. So, if you are new, feel free to subscribe. Like button is down below if you do enjoy, dislike if you didn't. But let's start off with your times from this morning's first practice one. And it's the man who looked so good in the early stages of last weekend before losing it just to Hamilton in qualifying and ultimately ending up with 0 points. Valtteri Bottas looking for redemption this weekend, starting off the weekend very strong indeed. A 126.166, 1/10 clear of teammate Lewis Hamilton. No surprise, it was Max Verstappen in P3, of course finished second last time out, but a huge surprise in Nico Hülkenberg. Fingers crossed he can make it to the start line this weekend. 4th place in first practice, half a tenth off Max Verstappen. Really impressive job from the Hulk this morning. Little bit slower this afternoon, but considering he's not had a real opportunity to get his teeth stuck into a Formula 1 car for such a long time now, fair play, P4 to the Hulk. Charles Leclerc rounding out the top 5. Albon, P6, a stronger showing from him this morning, still 4/10 though of teammate Max Verstappen. Sebastian Vettel was P7. Lance Stroll quite a bit off teammate Nico Hülkenberg. That really was the big surprise this morning. Danny Kvyat is 100th Grand Prix he will take part in this weekend with P9, and Esteban Ocon rounded out the top 10. His fellow countryman Pierre Gasly was P11. Lando Norris, the lead of the two McLarens, P12. Grosjean, not bad at all, P13, just 1/10 off the McLaren of Norris, splitting the two McLarens with Sainz in P14. It was a strong showing from Williams, P15 and P16 for Russell and Latifi. Qualifying trim, looking not too bad. Maybe they could sneak another car through to Q2 this weekend. Daniel Ricciardo struggled in the morning session, 17th place for the Aussie driver. Raikkonen and Kubica, the two Alphas, 18th and 19th. And Kevin Magnussen really struggled in the morning session. No real issues of note, but just couldn't quite get it hooked up. P20 for the Dane. This afternoon, Lewis Hamilton back on top. But as you can already see from the tyre graphics, things all over the place. Medium tyres for Hamilton, a 125.606, about a second quicker than Bottas's fastest this morning, and a 10th quicker than his teammate, despite being on the medium tyres, Bottas on the soft. But then even more crazily, Daniel Ricciardo, who finished all the way down in 17th in the morning session, was 3rd in the afternoon on the hard compound tyres. Teammate Ocon in 10th also set his best time on the hard compound tyres, proving that just because a car doesn't look so great on the soft tyres or one particular compound doesn't mean they're not going to be fantastic on another one. And actually Renault could be a big dark horse this weekend. A few of you in your predictions thinking that as well. Max Verstappen, P4, P5 and 6. The two Racing Point cars, they've had a day of it, haven't they? With that news this morning that their brakes have been found illegal. 15-point deduction for the team. €400,000 fine as well. Hülkenberg not quite on the level of Lance Stroll this afternoon. Charles Leclerc, P7 the lead Ferrari, but the two McLarens doing a much better job. 8th and 9th for Norris and Sainz, that's a mouthful. And Ocon, we mentioned earlier, rounding out the top 10, but on those hard compound tyres. Alex Albon struggled in the afternoon, 1.3 off Lewis Hamilton's best time, also on the medium tyres. He was only just in front of the two Red Bull juniors, Danny Kvyat in P12, Pierre Gasly P13. Sebastian Vettel, he had an afternoon to remember, struggled to find any real pace, and while pushing late on in the session, went wide over Copse, over a raised bit of tarmac, ruined the floor, completely messed up the floor, and kind of bent it really. Oil leaking out underneath, didn't look healthy whatsoever. They've now fixed that section for the Formula 2 qualifying. That's just got underway. That was delayed because of the repairs. 14th though for Vettel, not looking great once again here in Silverstone, a circuit that he's gone so well at in the past. Grosjean the lead Haas car again in P15, Russell once again in 16th, hovering about on that Q2 bubble. Raikkonen struggled in morning and afternoon, 17th for him, K-Mag 18th, Latifi and Giovinazzi 19th and 20th. But not much to report today. That Vettel incident at the end of practice 2 was a real talking point. You'd imagine they're going to be able to get a new floor in and get that fixed overnight and into the morning, and I would imagine he'll be out in practice and he'll be out in qualifying. But even before that incident, it really does surprise me the pace of Sebastian Vettel. I kind of gave him a free pass last weekend in the sense that all 3 practice sessions, his car either didn't work or decided it wasn't going to work properly. That's how it ended up. 5 laps he completed in the 3 practice sessions last time out. So you could understand that when he got to quali, when he got to the race, wasn't on the level with his teammate. But this weekend, he's had a whole weekend last time out. Now he's had a morning session, he has an afternoon session, and the pace isn't still quite there, and he's not under that pressure because we know he's leaving the team, because we know that car's built around him. But then you've also got drivers like Albon also really struggling to get to grips with their car. Alex did a great job this morning, just about where he needs to be to match Max, but in the afternoon, comfortably off the pace once again, and finding that consistency for Vettel in the Ferrari. But both Red Bull drivers in their car, that Red Bull just seems to be so much on the edge. Not too many mistakes this morning in practice actually, which makes a change for the Red Bull guys. And Albon, where last weekend he did hit the wall in second practice, this time out much cleaner, much more stable. But I still think Albon may be a bit of a surprising quali, needs a good result this time out. Other stories of note, I think, were the Renaults. We're not surprised that Mercedes are at the front, Max Verstappen is at the front, and just about in that best of the rest is the mix between the racing points, your McLarens, your Ferraris. And Renault all season long have been all over the place really. Nowhere in that opening race, in that second race with wet conditions, Ocon bangs in an awesome qualifying 5th place on the grid. Last time out Ricciardo was 4th, and it's been so up and down for them. But I think when the conditions suit their car, when the tyres suit their car, they've got a really solid package there. And Ricciardo this morning suggesting that they have an outside shot of the top 3. Few people laughing that off, but I don't think it's out of contention. They kind of got lucky in the sense that last weekend, if Bottas and Sainz didn't have their tyre malfunctions, it would have been a 6th place. But throughout the race, Ricciardo was there or thereabouts. Esteban Ocon seems to be getting better and better each weekend, and I would imagine by the time we get to Monza, he's going to be even closer to Daniel Ricciardo, and isn't doing a terrible job this year. So if he could just get that bit closer, if Ricciardo can continue the impressive start he's had in 2020, I don't see why Renault can't challenge the likes of Racing Point. Now they've had their points deduction, while Ferrari have one driver doing great, one driver struggling to get points. McLaren, I think, are the biggest threat. And I think with Norris being so consistent, with Sainz having bad luck already but still having a strong start to the season, I think they're in the driver's seat, if you will, for that best of the rest. But Renault looking strong, and that's about it from practice today. So before we go, let's take a look at your predictions from yesterday's video. As always, this was your grid that we give you at the end of our race preview. Pole position, front row, and biggest shock from quali, your winner, your podium, your first retirement, DOTD, and best of the rest. And your winners this week, first of all, is Alistair John Roberts, who's gone with a Valtteri Bottas pole position, redemption for Valtteri Hamilton on the front row, and biggest shock, Alex Albon to out-qualify Max Verstappen. It's not looking too great in the practice so far, but bit of wet weather in the air at the moment. I know it's rained here today. Tomorrow looks a little bit sunnier, but maybe not out of the question with mixed conditions if Max makes a mistake. But in the race, he's gone with a Lewis Hamilton victory, Bottas P2, Albon to get his first F1 podium, but he did specify the first retirement, Max Verstappen, to make contact with Esteban Ocon. That would be a spicy moment indeed to start the 70th anniversary Grand Prix. He's gone with Pierre Gasly, driver of the day. A very popular choice actually, Gasly, for driver of the day this week. And Lando Norris, a P4 best of the rest. And our second most liked comment comes from Murshid Hussain. Hamilton pole position, Bottas front row, Russell to get through to Q3. He's then gone with a Hamilton victory, Verstappen and Albon, so another one going Albon for his first podium, Bottas to be the first retirement. Goodness me, could you imagine the title hunt if Bottas has another retirement or non-score this weekend? He's also gone with Pierre Gasly for driver of the day and Daniel Ricciardo as best of the rest. And that is your lot from your practice report for the 70th anniversary Grand Prix. Just an update for all of those looking for F2 content. That's mostly moved now to Sunday, all neatly packaged at the end of the race review. The only reason I did that was because, like now, Formula 2's been delayed. Formula 2 won't be finished for another half an hour. That means the video gets pushed back and it all gets a little bit messy. So we just neatly package it up now at the end of the race review and we discuss the entire weekend. So don't worry, it's still here Formula 2 content, just been moved to a different place. So thank you all very much for watching. If you are new around here, feel free to subscribe if you want to keep up to date with all Formula 1 2020 news reviews, all that good stuff. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in the next one.